Alright, how's it going, everybody? This is Ismortah, and this is episode 44 of my custom Kingdom Death Monster campaign. And we're just about to begin Lantern Year 14, the settlement phase. Are coming back from the Nemesis Encounter with the hand. So due to our fortuitous showdown with the hand, we actually got a bunch of resources and endeavors, which means we actually have a significant settlement phase, which I wasn't planning for at all, which is great. So there's no scheduled story events, but if we happen to get to population 15, that will trigger one. So we do have a settlement. And what I have out here is all of the current locations that I have, all of my current innovations and principles, the 5 endeavors and where I plan on using them, and stuff I plan on purchasing, like the bone pickaxe, with these resources. And these are sort of what I plan to do with the resources that I have. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so first off, again, I don't know why I keep putting it way over here and then walking back. The settlement phase, you go step by step as far as what actions you do. And as you probably know by now, milestones and death count I do as they happen. So these aren't steps I'm following. These two I'm not, because I do it as they happen. And then prepare starting survivors and onward I do during the hunt phase, because that's really the strategy on how we're going to attack the monster, as far as what we're going to do, trying to get to it, and then setting up for the attack. All right, so we're just going to do these guys here, not including these two. All right, so first is setup, which I've already done. I've already shuffled and drawn a settlement event. We got everything out, and I've already removed any temporary tokens, if any existed. So next we do is Survivor's Return. So during this, we want to remove any damage to armor and to health on everybody. So I'll start with Joy, and let's go around the circle. So Joy should be at 3 on everything, which she is. And took no physical damage, so it's okie dokie. Oko took a little bit of physical damage at the end, because got to less than 3 insanity, but then went back up 1. I believe because was targeted, unless I misplayed, which is entirely possible because there's so many things to check. I just noticed he's now at 3 insanity. And if he was at 2, that's when the stuff would happen, which I believe he was. I think he went up somehow. I just don't remember how. And I also forgot that his movement was 6. I was moving him 5 this whole time. But anyway, like I said, there's so many things to check. Bound to screw up something. All right, so he's got to heal a little bit. He should be at 5 and then 4 on the arms. Okay, otherwise looks good. Taken should be 5 and 4. Got hit a little bit got hit pretty hard to the head and to the waist. Fortunately, it's where he actually had the most armor. Those are the 2 areas that have 5. Otherwise, looking good. And then Sona is 2 everywhere. Cool. Alright, so everybody is healed and has returned. Next, we do gain endeavors. So since I have cooking, I get +1 endeavor on top of every survivor that has come back. And I think I actually may get more. I think I miscounted. The reason why I say that is because Oko has Tinker. So I get +1 endeavor when he is a returning survivor. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a bonus 1 for Oko, and then a bonus 1 for cooking. So actually I get 6 endeavors, which I didn't plan for. So holy shit. 6 endeavors. This is getting crazy. Yeah, so we got 6. So technically, if I wanted to, I could do Augury. I could attempt it twice if I wanted to. And that's what I was thinking here. Unless I want to use it for any other bonus stats or something similar, or doing another Shadow Ritual, possibly. But wow, that's pretty awesome. Okay, so we got Endeavors, of which we have 6. Now we update the timeline. So we're starting Lantern Year 14. And this is where we're at on the timeline. We're right here. So there's nothing planned for 14 other than the settlement event. But future Lantern Years, we do have some stuff that's going to happen. As far as story milestones, there's always going to be one settlement event, at least. Okay, so we update the timeline. And now we trigger any events, story events, and settlement events. Okay, so next we'll do the settlement, which is, and my main thing is I just hope it's something other than Skull Eater or Murder. That's my hope. I have so many cards. I mean, come on, but we'll see. This is one we've seen before. I'm trying to think how to proceed. But I'll show it to you. I mean, we're going to do it regardless. I'm just trying to think what I want to do. So this is called Hunt Reenactment. And so this is interesting because at first I was hesitant is because normally the Hunt Reenactment, you reenact the thing that you fought last. And so it wouldn't be a quarry. In this case, it would actually be the hand is what we would reenact. So I'll read it to you. It says, Hunt Reenactment. Nominate the group's favorite survivor to play the hunter, and then nominate your least favorite survivor to play the monster. And then you pick a monster from the settlement's list of defeated monsters. That's kind of weird wording because I don't write down monsters that were defeated. I mean, I've never totally wiped on a boss other than the hand the first time I fought it. So, but you know what I mean? It's not something I keep track of. So I pick the monster, and then depending on what I roll, I make different choices and say different things that are factors that determine different things, basically. Okay, so first off, I have to nominate who is the favorite survivor and who is the least favorite survivor. Am I reading that correctly? Your least favorite survivor and your favorite survivor. So Oko has had ups and downs, but because he was nominated by the tribe as their hero and is immortal in this stuff, he went from someone who was unsavory to actually a pretty important character. So he's Oko, I would argue, is actually not the least favorite survivor at all. The most favorite is probably either some people that have high profile. So Oko's pretty high profile. Bliss is pretty high profile because he's a savior. Volva's pretty high profile because she's the new person that's taken over Isma, wielding the Twilight Sword. And then there's Isma. So Isma's been kind of out of the picture for a while, but is important. So I wouldn't say least favorite, but definitely not favorite. Emily has King Step, so it's important. So not least favorite by any means. Volva is contender for most favorite. So is Oko, I would argue. And Bliss is probably also contender for most favorite just because it's Savior. That I could argue that since the Savior did it last time, the Savior should do it this time as far as favorite. But having a Twilight Sword, someone who's actually now took up the reins, is pretty cool too. In any case, I would argue, because Volva is Oko plus Twilight Sword, I would say Oko probably is not the favorite anymore. It's either Bliss or Volva, I would argue. But who is the least favorite is the question. I have gear grids for everyone currently that's alive, I believe, in the settlement. Let me check. I went on to a second page because we had so many. So we have population of 9. The question is, do I have 9 cards? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I do. Okay. I'm just going to start just using this sheet to just record anything that's extra because I'm running out of space. So I'm probably going to start using this sheet to record any future population and any future endeavors. But I'll have the master total still be on this page. But any other innovations, because there's not really any space, or so innovations I'll put, new innovations I'll put here, and new people I add to the population I'll put here. But the totals, like, I'll still keep on this page. Just so you know. For a record keeping. Okay, but still, what are we gonna do? Oko is a champion now. Like, he's gone up and down in popularity, but he's somewhere like at the top, I would argue. But who's at the bottom? Who's somebody that's like, I don't care. Let's see here. Does anyone have weird disorders that makes them not a candidate? That makes them a candidate. Like, Isma, honestly, is losing popularity, but she's important. This weird character that emits the shadowy mist that drives the religion. So she's definitely teetering toward the bottom, but still is important to the religion. But it's not someone that anyone's like, what do we do with this person? Now, Jer is honorable, which is a problem, so that's definitely makes him a mark. But he also has high luck, and he's important for farming. So for that reason, I wouldn't say he's totally unpopular. So he makes the cut as far as not getting targeted. King Step's important, so I would say probably not a target either. Volva, it just has so much good stuff going for her. I would argue that even though we have the Savior, Volva just like has Immortal and Extra Sense and Red Fist, even though she's got Honorable too. Has so much going for her. But a Savior was celebrated. This was like a curse that moved and stepped up. But so I don't know. One of these two. I'm still on the fence on how I'm going to determine that. I could say the person with the least bonus stats, which in this case would actually be Taken. Probably. But Joy also has Honorable and nothing else going for her. So I would say the runners-up for least favorite is either Taken or Joy. Everybody else, like Oko's got a lot of stuff going for him. Sona has a whole bunch of fighting arts. So I would argue one of these two. Taken or Joy. Taken recently learned even the club, which is something we need. So even though it has honorable as a disorder, is beneficial. So least favorite is tough because there's nothing screamed out before like Oko where there's like, oh my god, he's a terrible person. Isma is what's keeping the civilization going. She's got high courage and understanding. I really don't have any batteries anymore like I did before. Really, the only battery is actually Isma herself, just sitting there doing nothing. So if anything, that would be a candidate as least favorite. But maybe that is the reason. She's not important enough to the civilization anymore, that now it's on Volva, that maybe the two of them should be part of it because they're both the Twilight Sword people. Interesting idea. It is an interesting idea. Because she's the only person that you would argue is actually a do-nothing. The only thing she has good for is she's started this religion, which not everyone does. But since she's not the wielder of the Twilight Sword, maybe she doesn't have the power to sustain the civilization anymore, you could argue. I might actually do Isma, actually, for that reason. We have this religion we do, we have these rituals, but that is an interesting choice, actually. Because she's the one person that's a do-nothing. and you know, like, we have this religion, and we have this power, but I said the power came from the Twilight Night, but that curse and that power moved on, so maybe the shadowy mist now is coming from the Twilight Sword itself, and Isma doesn't have the power anymore. I can play that. I can RP that. Alright, I'll do that. I'll do that, actually. I think so. Yeah, I mean, she's maimed, doing nothing. Yeah, I think so. All right. So for that reason, I think should be between Volva and Isma. Before when I did it, it was people that were the most insane during the last fight. That was favorites and not favorite, and had them go at it. And in this case, it's not the people that are insane. It's the people that the passing of the Twilight Sword. I like it. I'll do it. It's very symbolic. I like it. I'll do it. Because I even said before, it's the Twilight. I mean, Isma created, you know, she was the person that created religion, but she was the Twilight Knight, and she's technically not the Twilight Knight anymore. Even though I know I'm RPing it a little bit differently. Yeah. Okay. So, final answer. We'll do these two. Okay. So, Volva is the group's favorite survivor. And then the least favorite survivor is Isma, because just can't do shit. Okay. Then we pick one monster from the settlement's list of defeated monsters, and to RP, I'm going to do the hand, because that was symbolic, and we want to reenact the last thing that we saw. Not something from years ago. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So it says next, I then roll to determine what happens. Okay. We got a 4, which is cool. Is this is a new series of choices. Last time, I believe I rolled a 1 through 3, and this time I rolled a 4, so it's a new tier of stuff. So next it says, is the monster a Nemesis monster? And yes, the hand was a Nemesis monster. So I say yes. So because I said yes, it says it's a glorious, synchronized performance. Both nominated survivors gain the following ability. And its ability, it doesn't say it's a fighting art or a disorder. So that means I record it at the bottom here in abilities and impairments, and that could have any number of stuff. It says Fated Battle. At the start of a showdown with the picked monster, gain a +1 speed token. So unfortunately, that's kind of like a wash, because there's nothing on the schedule to ever fight the hand ever again, unless there's some story thing from a settlement event or a hunt roll that triggers the hand, which is entirely possible. As far as I know, I have no idea. So it says at the start of a showdown with the hand, either one of these characters, if they're in that battle, that showdown, will get a +1 speed token. And then that's the end of the reenactment. So that's totally different. Before it's us reenacting killing the antelope, and this we're reenacting the battle with the hand. And it's a happy, just like what happened during the last showdown. It's happy as opposed to the that one battle with the screaming antelope, which is actually terrifying because I believe that was the battle that someone died from the whale when it died. Okay, so I'm going to record this before I forget what happened, and then we'll move on to development, which is cool because we've got 6 endeavors. Okay, so they both have fated battle. So let's see, if fights the hand, +1 speed token. Good. Isma is still alive. Which is good, because I wasn't entirely sold, because I sort of felt like, as an entity, she had the source. But then she passed on the curse of Twilight Sword. So, I'm kind of glad it panned out that way. So I wouldn't have to try to make up how that would work. I'm just writing it on both characters so they know. If fights the hand, +1 SPD, which is speed token. Okay, so that was a hunt reenactment against the hand. So now I'll write that on the summit sheet. This is what I did, just so I know, just story-wise, just for fun. So this was... Oh, I'm sorry. The hunt reenactment I did last time was against the Phoenix. That's right, because everyone was insane. That makes sense. Not Screaming Alley. So this is hunt reenactment, and that was the hand. Okay. So I haven't decided yet what I'm going to fight as far as Corey, because it really depends on what happens during the development phase. Whether I fight a Screaming Antelope level 1 or level 2, or fight a Phoenix level 1. It really depends. Okay, so we did this. Next up, I'm going to take a short 30-second break and drink a little bit of coffee. Then we'll do the development phase. Development step. Okay, so during the development step, we actually have 6 endeavors, which are these star-looking symbols, of which I have 6. So I'm going to take them off now, because when I place it, that means it's going to be used. All right. So the first thing that I want to do is definitely the endeavor, because I want to gun. What I'm gunning for is Inner Lantern to get the Surge ability. The second highest thing I'm trying to get is Forbidden Dance. That way, if I get any number of monster resources, I can convert them into basic resources. The reason why I want to do that is because I'm trying to get hides. Because if I have hides, I can use an endeavor at the leather worker to turn any number of my hides into leather. And that's what I need to make certain items like the shield and the whip or the phoenix gear. I need leather. And then the third thing I'm gunning for is the innovation for scrap smelting, only because it's cheaper than doing the weapon crafter special innovate. But that's a lot of resources, and I'm not there yet. But you know, that's what I'm gunning for. So I want to do that first because if I don't get Surge, I'm probably not going to do a level 2 monster because it's too risky. And there's even a chance I may not even do the Phoenix. But I've done the Phoenix before, so I might still do the Phoenix. But definitely I won't do any level 2 monsters, only because level 2 monsters have abilities that they have a lot more movement profile on the board and isolating characters. And unless you have the ability to actually do movement, additional movements, as well as additional actions, that it's a huge deficit that you're not competing with that boost. As far as damaging the toughness, I definitely have the power. Taking the blows, because I have 4 sets of gear now, I definitely have that ability, but even the fact that I don't at least have a shield on somebody to stop another speed is a problem. But I do have the skull hammers, which, you know, can reduce the speed, and I do have people now that have extra sense. So, but that's how you combat the stat increase. But the new ability that like the Antelope and White Line get, I really need to make sure I have more abilities as well on my characters. Because it's my opportunity to pad up the number of survivors. Because I was dangerously low before. Now I'm okay, but I want to be in a better shape in case something devastating happens. Or people fall down ditches and hunts. Who the fuck knows? Okay, so anyway, I'm going to do Lantern Horde. I'm going to innovate. So that costs 1 of every resource and a endeavor. I'm going to do 1 endeavor, and then I'm going to spend a monster organ, monster hide, and a monster bone to do so. Okay, so these are spent. And now we'll innovate. So to innovate, I've already shuffled this deck. I draw 4 cards, twice as many as originally in the game because I have Symposium. And then I could choose any one of the 4 to proceed with. So here we go. Hopefully it's good stuff. I mean, it's always good stuff. It's just some stuff that is more important to me than others. Okay. So unfortunately, we didn't have Inner Lantern as a choice. But I'll show you the ones that come up, and then we'll see how to proceed. It looks like we got some good ones. So one is Storytelling. That increases my survival limit by 1, which is good. And then I can also do Story Time, which I have a chance of giving people more understanding, or more insanity, or triggering the white speaker, which I don't actually know what that is. So that's very interesting. Next, we got Nightmare Training, which I could spend Endeavor and have somebody lose survival in order to try to give them more stats. Permanently. But it's only for 1 survivor. Whereas Storytelling could potentially affect yourself or other people. Song of the Brave. It says the survivors lift their voices into the darkness. On arrival, each non-deaf survivor may remove 1 negative attribute token. So if there's any negative attributes I got from the hunt, they would go away. Which are these tokens? These are attribute tokens. And then what's really interesting is it says, if I ever have to do Overwhelming Darkness, which is that dark space in the middle of the hunt board, I can always choose Path of the Brave as long as nobody is deaf. So that's very interesting too, because that's a really bad thing that happens during the hunt. So I would argue so far, Song of the Brave or Storytelling is the one to choose. Nightmare Training only affects one person. And I already have some stuff that can double up. Like I have drums that can boost stats, face painting I can boost stats, bloodletting can boost stats. So, And then we got Pictograph. And this is the one that allows me to potentially run away during a hunt or a showdown, which I don't really ever want to do, but I guess if something's going super bad that you want to save a character, you can do that. So I'm not really interested in that. But what's interesting is when you do this, you then add pictograph consequences. And maybe the consequences that you could potentially draw from later are really good. But this one's sort of like you can run away. What do I care? I don't know. So I'd say because I want to survive hunts, because I've lost half my party before doing so, I'm probably going to choose between one of these two. So these two are out of the picture. The picture's out of the picture. Okay. So either Song of the Brave, which then I'd add brave consequences in addition, or add storytelling and then add storytelling consequences in addition. I have to admit, I am kind of intrigued by White Speaker because I don't know what that is. It does take 2 endeavors, but since I'm getting ways to have bonus endeavors and Oko is still in the party, remember he's only a couple hunts away from retiring, that would be kind of interesting. And if you roll 4 through 7, it's a way you can give everybody insanity when they depart. A lot of insanity. But if you don't roll 4 through 7, you're either going to get +1 understanding or trigger White Speaker. And I don't even know what White Speaker does, but I am curious. But man, Song of the Brave is good too. Can remove negative attributes. But storytelling, you also get survival limit +1. Oh, fuck. I might have to do storytelling. Because White Speaker, I don't know what that does, because I haven't seen it yet, but I believe it has something to do with the Twilight Night. Because I think I've read something somewhere involving that if you have a Twilight Sword, you don't trigger White Speaker. So that makes me think that White Speaker triggers Twilight Night, possibly. But then you also get survival limit +1, and you give people extra insanity going out, potentially, because, that's killed my party before. I think I'm going to do storytelling. It's story time. Since we don't have story time, we need story time. Bam. Sounds good. See, we might have a story event after all. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're going to add storytelling. So I'll add that to the settlement. But I'll add to the other sheet because we're getting kind of crowded. All right. So that was storytelling. Jump it over here. So the new one we learned is storytelling. And then that's +1, and that's survival limit. +1 survival limit. And also takes 2 endeavors that you can get stats or other stuff. I'll just say story with various effects, so I can refer to it later. It's a little too wordy, but I'll go ahead and add survival limit +1. So that one's survival limit. I'll take it from 8 to 9. And I've noticed it's probably also possible in this game that the whole time I've been giving my people 1 survival more than they're supposed to have. And that's only because the box here in gray shows a 1. And I don't remember if you start the whole game with 1 survival, or if the only reason you have 1 survival when you get to the Lantern Year 1 is because you get language. But in any case, since I've been playing that way, I'm going to just play that way and keep going. So, consistency. So anyway, my survival limit now went from 8 to 9. Boom. And we learned storytelling. Cool. We're just going. because now people can have more survival to spend, and then I can give people potential, even though there's a chance of failure, a whole bunch of insanity going out, and I can also trigger white speaker, whatever that does. And depending on what it says, I may also house rule it, only because I'm already starting with a Twilight Knight, but I don't know what it says, but I'm saying like there's possibility I might house rule it. We'll see. Cool. All right, so next up I have 5 more endeavors. So doing one in story time is very interesting, so I may very well do that. And then I want to do face painting, so that'd be a couple more. It's almost like I'm at a summer camp. I want to tell stories. I want to face paint. Okay. But I also want to attempt doing augury. And I also want to, as far as endeavor, what else was there that I was thinking about doing? It might have been it. Oh yeah, and also Shadow Ritual, to share some more traits with more people after I try to have kids. That way I have more people that can keep the traits going in the tribe. Right. Okay. Cool. Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is face painting and do Founder's Eye to try to give myself a bonus when I do Intimacy, because there's a possibility that I could trigger Intimacy during this Lantern year. Definitely 2 times, but potentially 3. So it'd be good to have that bonus. Not only to potentially get an 8 or above to get twins, but it allows me to not ever roll 1, which is super bad for the couple that's involved. Okay, so we're gonna do face painting, which I believe is the entire civilization. This is +1 to rolls during this settlement phase. So I roll D10, and I'm trying to get a 4 or better. So God damn it. Fuck. It's a 2. So that's a failure. It says, at an accidental mess, nothing happens. So we burned endeavor, failed. Christ. Honestly, I really want to do it again because I really want to make sure that I have the best numbers possible when doing many fucking intimacies. So yeah, we're going to do it again. We'll do it again. So we'll spend another one. Basically, I have like a 2/3 chance, so, you know. Ooh, and that time we got a natural lantern. Boom, which is a 10. So it took 2 endeavors, but we got extra ones, so that was, that was good. Because there was a chance of failure. So now I get +1 in all rolls on the Intimacy table. So I'll put that here just so I remember. Boom. That I have it anyway. Alright, so now I'll do Intimacy. Which I can definitely do it twice, because I can consume this to do it, to trigger it. So who's going to have some fun? Let's see here. I mean, I could start with Joy and Taken, since I was talking about them being targets for least favorite anyway, to give them importance. We'll do that. So I'll have Joy and Taken, which are male and female. Do it. Ha, do it. Good pun. All right. So we'll spend an Intimacy, and we'll do it between Joy and Taken. Taken, sorry. He's about to get taken. Yeah. Okay. So Intimacy. Again, here's a picture of the artwork on the left. And then the table of stuff on the right. Nominate 1 consenting male and 1 consenting female survivor and roll on the Intimacy table below. So the only person I have right now that definitely cannot do Intimacy is Oko, because he has destroyed genitals. but also intimacy has to be between a male and female, obviously. And I'm also going to house rule it that I can't have the same male and the same female be involved in intimacy twice during a lantern year. That's just a rule I'm going to make, because I'm going to say that they have sex, but then they also help raise that kid in particular. So that's what we're going to do. House rule it anyway. All right, so it's between those two. So I roll 2 dice, and I'll have one of them be a white just for luck. And whatever the dice rolls are, I can add 1 to each dice, and then I choose whatever dice I want. Okay, here we go. Let's get more space. I want more space to do some good rolling action. So all this crap over here. All right. I wonder if what token means. Oh, this is a reroll if you get a 1, which I don't know why that's there. Anyway, here we go. Okay, we got a 5 and a 2, which turns into a 6 and a 3 because of Founder's Eye. It's going to affect everybody for the rest of the settlement phase. That is intimate. Okay, so obviously the higher numbers are better, but let's just see. So a 3 is definitely bad, so we don't want to do that. Because basically the female is going to die if that happens. But then the male would go insane because she died during childbirth. But anyway, we'll skip that one since we also rolled a 6. So if 6 is a new survivor is brought kicking and screaming into the world. The child's eyes are free of the ink that stained the founders' faces. The settlement gains +1 population. I forgot about that. All of the starting survivors had inked eyes, and then Isma, as you know, also had the shadowy mist that came after, which she still has, obviously. All right, so you get +1 population. And then people who involved also got stats because of the light trait of my religion, which is Ismortah. So I'll add that to here. So okay. So I don't know the name of the person yet, so I'll add that later. What's the sex? I'll just roll for it. I normally had odds be males, so that's a male. That was 9. And then this person will get an L stat, a B stat, and +1 STG. Everyone gets +1 strength because of barbaric, and then a stat for being a new survivor, and then a stat for being involved in intimacy. And by that I mean the product of. But then the parents will also get +1 stat that I need to add later, so I'll just mark down here to remind myself. So Joy will get star L, and Taken will get star L. And now the population goes from 9 to 10. Awesome. And then I'll also mark that Joy and Taken were also now parents. Parent and parent. For a time, I was keeping track of when people were born, what lantern year, but then I stopped doing that. I only did it for certain twins. But I'm keeping track if anyone ever did the deed, which is actually a lot of people. Just a lot of them are already dead. So, they embrace life, embrace death. So, such is life. Okay, so that was a successful love juice. Now I'll do the next one and target the next couple. And the other thing I'm house ruling is if I do intimacy and they have kids, the kids themselves can't do intimacy that lantern year because I'm just saying, you're still kids. Even though the game kind of doesn't have any concept on how long a lantern year actually is. Like, they call it a lantern year, but we don't know if it's actually a year. That's how they're measuring time, by how long lanterns light till they go out. Right? Okay. Another male and female. Volva's a female. Emily's a female. Oko's a male but can't do anything. Then we have Jar and Bliss. So, I could have Bliss and Volva. There's a lot of separation there. But Bliss is a savior, so it makes sense to have the people that are best with each other. So maybe I'll have Volva and Bliss get the deed on. Bliss is male, Volva is female. That's what we'll do. We'll have two of them do the next love juice. Spend that. Again, roll 2 dice. Add 1 to each. Choose the one I want. Okay, so we got an 8 and an 8, which both then turn into a 9 or a 9, which in either case is actually a really good roll. Okay, so a 9, the settlement celebrates a twice fortunate event. A pair of healthy newborn survivors enters the world. The settlement gains +2 population. Awesome. We're getting back in the game, man. I was worried, but we're bouncing back. Okay, so population goes to 12. And then Volva will get a star L. Bliss will get a star L. Stats I need to add later, which I'll add at the end of this before I forget. And then we have 2 newborns, which will both get star L, star B, +1 STG, star L, star B, +1 STG. Okay, so now I need to roll to see what their sexes are. I'll have this be the first one, this be the second one. Let's do that. We got a 5 and a 4, so we got a male and a female. So fraternal twins. Good. And again, I'll add all the bonus religious stats later, as well as the barbaric stats. Cool. So that was some good intimacy. That was great. And see, because of the +1, that bumped it from 8 to a 9, and you had to have a 9 or above actually to have twins. So that's why we bump it. You got to bump it to bump it, you know? Okay, so I have 3 endeavors left. Because I spent 2 on face painting, but that was totally worth it because I got +3 population out of this. So, fantastic. And also got story time. Which we'll probably going to try to do a story time just because it's interesting. But at the same time, it takes 2 endeavors to do it, and I'm not sure I can afford it. I want to see what else I want to do. Because one of the things I want to do, remember, is the shadow ritual. That leaves me with 2. But I also wanted to do battle paint before people go out and have an extra one in case I fail. But then I have a free one, then I could do augury. So in other words, I don't have enough to do storytelling this time. But that'll be a great one to do next time. But actually, before I proceed any farther, let me go ahead and add this deck. So because I learned storytelling, I have to add storytelling consequence to innovation deck. So next time I innovate, there's now things I can learn because I know how to tell stories. Maybe there's certain types of stories I can tell that I can learn. Okay, so let me get the rest of the innovation cards. I need to look for those to add to the deck before I forget. So I'm looking for any cards that say storytelling consequence. So I'm going to do 2 passes, just because the cards kind of stick, just to make sure I get it. So records, I've seen that come up before, so that's 1. Maybe that's the only one. So I'll check again, but it looks like the only one that's part of it is records. But I'll check in. Storytelling consequence. Yep, it looks like that's the only one. Okay, that's the only one. So I add records to the deck of cards that I can draw from. I'll have to shuffle that later. Put that over here. Records, I remember, came up before when I did hunts, as well looked at a reward table on somebody, so I know that's important. And maybe that allows me to share information that I learned, possibly. Okay, anyway. I have 3 endeavors left. Because there's a lot of different things that I want to do, it's unlikely I'll be able to spend 2 this time out the gate. Because I want to give people stats when they go out, which I can do with Battle Paint. And I have a couple attempts at it. So let's do the Shadow Ritual first. And if I'm doing Shadow Ritual, that means I'm going to have to get a random disorder in somebody, so I need to shuffle the disorder deck right quick. I think the most valuable thing to share is Extra Sense, but making sure that I have someone that has the King Step will be important when I find the Kingsmen again, and having someone that has Red Fist is important. That way I can make sure I keep having someone that has the +1 bonus. And right now I only have 1 person with both, so it's likely I'm probably going to share one of those this time, just to make sure that somebody has it. That way, if for some reason that person dies, it's still kept in the civilization. I would say the most important one is probably Red Fist, because that you can use in so many situations. So I'll do that one first. Which is a risk, because I think that's the one that's on Volva. And which means she could get a disorder that's terrible. So that's the risk there. Because there are some really bad disorders. But there are also some really amazing disorders. I just had it, so I've shared Red Fist before, but I believe everyone that's had it has died. Especially when my population got dangerously low. I think was the problem. Alright, so the disorder, I have it here. I'm not going to look at it yet. I believe it's going to involve it, but let me check. Yeah, she's the one with Red Fist. Let me just make sure someone else doesn't have Red Fist. I don't think they do. Extra Sense having a bunch of people, which is great. That'd actually be a good one to put on everybody. But just giving everyone permanent +1 strength and extra potentially survival is like, no. That's one that once I lose it, I lose it forever, so I don't lose it. I mean, there's a bunch of other good ones, but yeah. Which is good, because whatever disorder she gets, I can knock off Traumatize or Honorable and keep Immortal. It's just, the disorder could also be really bad. Potentially. So it is a super risk. And she's a really good character, so I hope I don't fuck this up. Now, I also have the possibility that, let's say I do fuck it up, I could still do Bloodletting, meaning I can get rid of any disorder. And actually, the most beneficial person to do it on is still her, because this will give someone a bunch of insanity, and she has Immortal, and she wants insanity. So, I think it's good and good. Okay, so the disorder that she's going to get is Weak Spot. I'll show you what the card looks like. Don't worry about trying to read it, because I will read it to you. I just wanted to give you an idea what the card looks like. Weak Spot. you have an imaginary infirmity. When you gain this disorder, roll a random hit location and record it. You cannot depart unless you have armor at this hit location. So this is very fortunate, because this is a disorder that really doesn't do shit. Because everyone, when they go out, you want them to have armor everywhere. So that means what this effectively did was get rid of one of the other disorders that she had that made her get knocked down. So this actually turned out very well. So next I rolled to see what the weak spot is, which is the chest. So she always has to have chest armor on. So I will erase cannot attack, blind spot, or knock down, or at end of turn by monster knockdown. I think traumatize is the worst. Because I can just say don't attack a particular place, but traumatize means whenever I do an attack, if I don't move away, I'm knocked down. So I'll remove traumatized. It would be good to remove honorable also, but I think traumatize is worse. In my opinion. Okay, so get rid of, because you can only have 3 disorders. So now I'm adding weak spot. And I'll say must have chest armor to depart. So it doesn't mean that she can't lose chest armor later. It just means if she ever departs, going from summit to the hunt, has to have chest armor. Okay, that's that. So why did I do that? So Volva also has to skip next hunt, and that's something else that's bad. Because she needs to gain more weapon proficiency. And I was hoping to get a little bit higher beforehand, but that's the rule I made. That she has to skip next hunt and gets a disorder, and then she can give one of her fighting arts to 3 different people. So she has to skip next hunt. But now I can share it with 3 other people. So to save on paper, and actually I'm eventually going to have to start actually going to the FedEx and actually make a bunch of copies, because I'm getting super low and I don't want to go through all of these. So I'm going to have to make some copies of this and cut them out. Just because I like keeping a record of all the people. Even though I know I can just erase and redo, blah, anyway. So now I need to give the ability to 3 different people. And I'm giving Red Fist. Which really doesn't do anything on 3 other people. If one person has Red Fist, that's all you need. But this way, if people die, I'll just make sure that only one person with Red Fist goes out at a time, potentially. So what that means is I want to put it on... Well, what am I going to do? Put it Isma would be a waste. And I can only put on someone who has less than 3 fighting arts, otherwise I have to get rid of a fighting art. So I don't want to do that if I don't have to. So I don't want to put in Emily because she has 3. I don't want to put on Sona because she's got 3. Oko only had... I know Oko does have 3 also. See, I'm narrowing down the list. So I need to put on 3 people. Bliss doesn't have any, so that's a good target. But he also ages super quick, so maybe that's a bad idea. That means he'll be on that person for a shorter period of time. So maybe who I'll put it on will be Jer, Joy, and Taken. Because Bliss is only going to be around for half the period of time, if not less, if I do any of his abilities. Special abilities. Yep, I think that's a good choice. So I'll put on these 3. So all 3 of them get Red Fist. I won't bother writing what it does, because I know what it does, because I've seen it so many times. So got Red Fist. And how I'm playing with this Shadow Ritual is not in the game. This is a house rule addition I made to the game. Having to do with my Ismortah religion. Okay, so these 3 people have Red Fist. And they're kind of middle of the road. So they're not my best people, and they're not the newbies, but it's a good idea. Cool. Alright, so I shared Red Fist. But unfortunately, she won't be out on the next hunt. That's one thing that sucks. Because I want to keep leveling that ability. But who knows, maybe I could do White Speaker and super do something with the Twilight Sword. I don't know. I don't know what it does. Okay, so we spent this. So everything's spent, I'll put here. So we spent 4 endeavors, we got 2 left. So with the 2 left, I could I could also gamble. I plan on spending 1 on face paint, and then if it fails, do a face paint again. Otherwise, I could do an augury again to get more people while I have the bonus. Or I could just spend the 2 on storytelling. Now, since I've spent so much to get the bonus on this, I kind of think I should do augury. But I think I should try to get face painting bonus and battle paint first. Just because I want to increase people's stats going out when I have the opportunity to do so. Because I could send out on this fight half new people and half middle experienced or something. And give people stats that don't have stats. Okay, so I will attempt battle paint. I need a 4 or better. We got a 5. It teetered on the 3. So it was a success, so we do have battle paint. So now everyone that departs will get +2 survival and +1 insanity. Awesome. Now, I normally don't keep track of, you're supposed to nominate a survivor to do the endeavor. I normally don't keep track because it doesn't fucking matter. But I know I did Volva to do the Shadow Ritual, which means I can't use her to get another understanding to get a bonus on potentially augury. So I can't use Volva. But for understanding, I could do Isma. She has super high understanding to get it higher. She's a potential target. Only because if I fail completely, I have to spend a resource and then get, but would get 1 understanding. So I kind of want to do it on somebody that was close. Let's see here. Oko has 3 understanding. He could do it. Oko can gleam existence, but then just not participate in sex because he can't. Well, I mean, he can participate, just he won't have any kids because he got maimed by the Phoenix. Decisions. I think I might do Isma. That's not one that said you have to spend survival or die or anything stupid, was it? No? I mean, you get a survival, so it'd be cool if I put on... Of course, she has 0, and that's probably a bad thing for many reasons. So yeah, I mean, let's do Isma. She'll do something for once. I mean, technically she did something very dramatic a couple legend years ago because she gave the sword, right, to Volva. And Eve, who was the savior, helped her out in the dream, so technically she did do stuff. And she's facilitating this religious shit, like shadow ritual and stuff, so. She's the source of the power. Yeah. But man, Isma, she's got. Don't worry if you can't see it. I just want to notice how much writing's on this page. She's got so many abilities and impairments that everything you see under abilities and impairments, including once per lifetime, that's all abilities and impairments. Like she just like maimed in so many different ways and has so many different abilities that are on her. Like for a quick read, for fighting arts, she has Last Man Standing, Mighty Strike, and Leader. Disorders. It's interesting that she has Leader, because that'd be a good one to share too. The fact that I can get, that means whenever you encourage, anyone that gets encouraged also gets +1 speed. That's actually very interesting. That's one I may actually share in the future. She also has Coprolalia. Coprolalia. I mean, she's like really noisy, always a threat. And she's got Hoarder. And then abilities impairment, she has Fated Battle, Disemboweled, Voice of Reason, Beloved Rock, Torn Achilles Tendon, Dismembered Arm, and Gaping Chest Wound. So, yeah. But has 4 courage and 5 understanding. So, like, she's been through shit, but she's also learned a lot of shit. Okay, so I'll have it be her. She has 0 survival anyway, and I think having characters for any reason with 0 survival is bad news bears. Okay, so we'll do Isma. And we'll do Augury. So I roll a d10. If someone has understanding, I get +1 to the roll. So if I get an 8 or better, I trigger Intimacy. 4 through 7, gain 1 survival. And what's the other thing? And if I do 1 through 3, I lose a resource from the settlement, which I'll just lose Acanthus, but then gain another understanding. So I want to get an 8 or better, and I can increase my roll by 1. So here we go. So that was a bad roll. I mean, it's like the worst roll. I rolled a 1. But the 1 turns into a 2, because she has 3 or more understanding. But it's still the same result. So I'll read it to you. It says, the survivor endeavors to glean the meaning of existence. And then what happens is, lose 1 resource from the settlement. If you do, gain +1 understanding. So I lose an Acanthus. But she gets 1 understanding. So now she's at 6 understanding. So if she gets 3 more, that's going to automatically trigger White Secret. Okay. And then I do have 1 endeavor left. So I could technically try again. Just because I have the bonus with face painting, I could try again. It just has to be someone that has potentially a lot of understanding, so they have a good bonus. I mean, I could do like Oko, because Oko had a bunch of understanding. Yeah, he's got the Destroy Generals, so he won't participate in sex, but he's got 3 understanding, so. But if I do it on Jer or Bliss, they're already at 1 understanding. Yeah, but I want to have the bonus. That's the whole point. I guess my argument there is if they fail and go to 2, then if I keep doing it again and again with the same person, they keep failing, eventually they'll get bonuses, you know? what to do. Fuck it. I'll do Oko, because now I get a bonus to the roll. If I can find him. There he is. As I understand right now, it's 3, so that's barely enough. So we'll do it. So Oko will also try to glean the meaning of existence. Storytelling vert is really interesting. I'm just trying to capitalize on getting kids while I have the bonus. Okay, so yeah, let's do augury again. This time I used a white dice for luck. So I need an 8 or better. So technically if I roll a 7, because I can add 1 to the roll. A 7 or better. Christ. Failed again. It's a 3, so it turns into a 4. But fortunately, I don't lose a resource. Because I had 3 understanding. So it says gain 1 survival. So Oko goes from 6 to 7 survival. Which really doesn't mean shit because I can gain so much survival anyway, but sure. I think that was worth the risk. It was an opportunity to have bonuses on getting kids, and so go for it. Alright, so I know I could have done another Shadow Ritual at that time, but Shadow Ritual, though, it's also, like I said, it's got a price. That person can't go out and then gets a disorder. You have no idea what's going to happen. Okay, so that's all of the endeavors. Face painting I'll leave over here just to remind myself that people have those stat bonuses going out regardless. +2 survival and +1 insanity. Now I can develop. So basically what I have left in the settlement is I have Phoenix resources, which I wanted to keep. I have an Acanthus, which I want to keep just in case I need to lose a resource, like you just saw. And then I have these resources, which I really want to make the bone axe. That way I could start getting iron ore. Not only can I use it toward a ore I need for the plumery, but also, again, if I need to lose resources for any reason, it's resources I can do in lieu of something else that's super valuable. But iron ore is super hard to come by. But I'm just saying, that way I have, more options. That's why I don't like doing augury, because you lose resources. I'm just like, right now, people were more important than resources. That's why I'm like, fuck, I need people. And I got a bunch more. Like, now my population, went from 9 to 12, so that's good. I'll just, try to capitalize and get as much as possible. Okay, so I'm going to use these 2 resources, the leather and the skull that was from the hand. And also use ammonia, which I have, to make a bone pickaxe. Cool. Alright, so that's the end of the development phase. Now the last thing I'm going to do is just tack on all of the bonuses I'm adding to people. But for the sake of the stream, I'm not going to sit down and do that because I have to think about what I want to do, and you kind of don't care. You just want to know when you play, during the next stream, during the hunt, what are people's stats and whom I'm going out with. So, after I end the stream, I will add all of the bonuses I got from the light trait of Ismortah religion, as well as the balance trait, that if I just create a character period, they get +1 bonus. And then the bonuses from barbaric. Cool. Well, the endeavors didn't go as planned, but I also I also planned on having 5 endeavors, not 6. So, what have you. I could have not done augury and instead done storytelling. That way, I would not have lost a resource. But, whatever. Oh yeah, I never added to his understanding. He was at 3 and he got 1. Wait, no, I rolled a 4. Yeah, he got survival. Right. Cool. Well then that should be it then for the settlement phase. So during the next video, I'm going to show the departing survivors of the settlement phase, and then the hunt, and then the arrival of the showdown. Not the showdown itself, but setting up the showdown, the arrival bonuses, doing the hunt, and doing the party bonuses for the party survivors. Well, cool. Well, that was a pretty productive settlement phase. A lot more productive than I had originally planned. Because I thought, again, the hand was going to be a massacre. And it was like total opposite. So, cool. And during the next hunt, I get to show off the bone pickaxe. I have not used that before, so that's going to be fun. Well, thanks for watching. Again, next stream is going to be the hunt phase of Lantern Year 4, and during that time, I'll also unveil what I decide to hunt as well. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Again, this is Ismortah, and I will see you next episode of my custom campaign of Kingdom Death Monster.